Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to look at making some sugar cookies. This one was requested by a family member and it's not too difficult to make. In fact, these are some of the easier cookies to make. Ingredients are 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 cup of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 egg, 1½ cups of white sugar, and 2 3/4 cups of flour. Now we'll get our mixing bowl ready and we're going to add our butter into it. We're going to heat up the butter a little bit so it's a little bit soft. I overdid it in this case and completely melted it, but it's what it is. And there's the sugar, and we're just going to mix the butter and the sugar together. And once these two are nice and combined, and we'll add some more ingredients. We'll add our egg, and then we'll beat our egg so that it's nice and combined in the mix as well. Okay, now for our vanilla, and the same process applies. We'll just keep mixing it, and eventually it'll all combine. But now we're going to add our flour. So we're going to dump in part of our flour, then we're going to get our sifter out. We're actually going to sift our baking powder and baking soda. And this will get rid of all the little lumpies, and will make it so that when someone bites into a cookie, they don't bite into a chunk of baking powder and wonder what this disgustingness is. Because it really is terrible biting into baking powder. And then we just keep stirring it, and once it starts to kind of combine, then we'll add more flour. There we go, that's probably 2/3 of it added now. So it becomes a little bit more difficult to stir, but it's still doable. If you're struggling, just use a mixer. That's what electricity's for, is to make things like this easy. And there we go, there's the last little bit of it. Now from here on it gets pretty tricky to stir, but it's not brutally difficult or anything. It kind of becomes a real dry batter, so some difficulty, but manageable. Perfect. And we're just going to stir this for a couple more minutes till we make sure it's all combined and that there's no flouriness in the middle of our batter. Oh yeah, looking good for sure. And what we're going to be doing is putting this on a cooking sheet. Now you don't have to grease your sheet for this. I decided to use a stone one, so I wouldn't have really had to grease it up to begin with, but get one of those ready and get your oven preheated to 375. Now what we're going to do here is roll them into our hands. Just fill your palm up with the batter and then roll it into a nice ball, and then try to keep them all somewhat the same size and fill the sheet, spacing them up kind of evenly. And I made kind of big cookies in this scenario. If you want to make smaller ones, just use less. Use half your palm or something to get a better measurement, or use a spoon or some other controlled dose. It's also possible to weigh your batter and evenly divide it that way, but I didn't bother. So I just press them all down so they're nice and flat, and then into the oven we go. And according to the recipe, you're supposed to cook them for like 10 minutes, but it took me a lot longer to cook them. I was closer to like 20, probably because they were so big and that I have a cold oven. But just keep an eye on them. Once they're a little bit golden brown, they're done. Don't overcook them, because it's really easy to overcook these type of cookies. Turned out okay and went good with a glass of milk. If you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay awesome.